The Creating and Verifying Unconditional Forecast guides explained how to create and verify the forecast for a single node. In contrast to unconditional forecasts, conditional forecasts require specific analyses to examine the connection between parent and child nodes. Prior to creating conditional forecasts, you should determine if a relationship between factors and stocks exists in the historical data. Click Network, Explore, and Regression on the ribbon. Notice that the United States node lacks an analysis underneath it. This occurs because regressions examine the connection between a parent independent variable x and a child dependent variable y. The regressions are shown underneath the child node. This graphic shows the results of a linear regression between Exxon and the United States. The slope, also known as beta in the second column, measures the sensitivity of Exxon to changes in the U.S. In this case, a 1% increase in the U.S. corresponded with a 1.1% advance in Exxon on average. The t-statistic measures the statistical significance of the relationship. As a rule of thumb, a t-stat with an absolute value greater than 2 indicates a statistically significant relationship between the parent and child. In the absence of statistical significance, you might consider rebuilding the network and determining a better parent factor, or determine why you think a relationship will occur in the future. Click Network, Explore, and then Scenarios on the ribbon. Click Conditional Probabilities. Notice that unconditional probabilities are shown for the United States. This occurs because the U.S. lacks a parent and consequently conditional probabilities. This graphic shows the conditional probabilities for ExxonMobil. These can be read as follows. Given a medium loss for SPY, the probability of a large loss for Exxon is 11%. Notice that the probabilities in the large loss and gain columns are both 0. This occurs because the U.S. market never lost or gained more than 3% in the historical period. The bulk of observations occur on a diagonal from the upper left to the bottom right of the table. This indicates a high correlation between Exxon and the U.S. If all observations lay on this diagonal, then Exxon and the U.S. would be perfectly correlated. For example, each large loss in the U.S. would correspond to a large loss in Exxon, and the upper left corner would be 1. Click Scenarios on the ribbon. Click on Conditional Expectations. This shows the conditional expectations for Exxon. The values are read similarly to the conditional probabilities. For example, given a medium loss in the U.S. market, the expected value of a large loss in Exxon is negative 3.3%. This is the average of all Exxon returns on dates when a medium loss in the U.S. and a large loss in Exxon occur. Similar to the unconditional expectations, the default value for the conditional expectations is the lower bound for the row interval. Therefore, the default value for any cell in the large loss row that doesn't have a value is -10. This tutorial showed you the specific analyses required to examine the connection between parent and child nodes. In the next tutorial, you'll create conditional forecasts.